Alright, back to the live glogging. I think the last time I did it was, almost a week ago. So, last time, brought up the idea to some people who were in the chat room, or the chat area. Like, if you got suggestions of what you'd like to see me practice, let me know. One of them was chemical warfare, the intro, like what to do to practice that. And the other suggestion was Bleed For Me by Black Label Society. So I'm going to go over how you can practice that, and then I'll find something else I'm going to practice and get up to some kind of speed. I have no idea right now. And because nobody's on yet, I am going to go share this info that a stream is happening on the Facebook page. So, yeah. This is extra exciting for those of you who are watching the archive stream. And not boring at all for the people who aren't there. So you might want to skip ahead a couple minutes. Alright, and share it on Facebook. Boom. It always gives the wrong damn title on Facebook. Alright, so how can you practice the chemical warfare intro? I think the guy said, well, first he asked, like, were there any down picking exercises that I do or have glogged? And the answer is no. It's not. Typically, the live streams are I'm practicing stuff that I was, wanting to get better for myself, but I do want people to make suggestions, like practice this, practice that, see how I would do it. Even like give me something that's stupid fucking hard, challenge me, and watch me flop around and fail often. But hey, we got to fail first in order to succeed. So how would I practice this? First, I'd break it down into a couple parts. Even just taking the first little bit here and working that up to speed. It's a pretty fast tempo. It's going all the way up 200. So picking down strokes, 200 beats a minute is fast for a lot of people. So I would work on that. And you can do this a couple ways. You can just play it until this note. So in other words, metronome this sucker the same way I always do this stuff, same way I recommend everybody do it. You start at 60, you play it correctly one time, and then just play the very first note of the next bar. So let's just make this really, really, really obvious what to do. And this is going to be very short, which is not a bad thing. Especially when we're just trying to push speed real fast. So just picking it, going to 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's it. Tap your foot when you're doing this. Make sure you're palm muting it. Do it right one time, go up by 5. Maybe even count it as you go with this one, even though it's real simple. If you're new to counting rhythm while you play, definitely a good idea to start doing it now. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And just keep going up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And so on until you can't get any faster. Now, I used the tap tempo on the metronome here to see how fast it would go. About how fast the song was, and it was about 200. So, once you get up to here, so you're just working up to that speed right there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Go faster than that. And keep going. About this tempo, I'll be tapping my foot every other beat because it's kind of ridiculous tapping this fast for long periods of time. So now it's starting to get difficult for me. That was 225. I'm going somewhere with this. I want you to see what it looks like when I stop going. to muscle into it. Okay, now it's getting sloppy. That's 270 right there. Nope. Okay, I barely get that right there. So when you get to that point where it's like you're barely hitting it anymore and it's taking damn everything you got, that's usually a good place to stop. So even though 200 beats a minute is your goal speed for this, because part of what you're going to be doing when playing a song, or you're going to be playing it longer than obviously one bar. So if you practice it higher, you know, the individual pieces, play it higher than the song calls for, it's going to be a lot easier when you slow back down and then you have to do the endurance part of it where you're playing it over and over and over again. So that's how I break up the first part. Second part did its own thing. And obviously you can play that and again into the first note of the next bar. So it's repeating. So I'm going to be playing this. You know what? Let me just do this. Basically, I'll be playing that. So no, I'm not going to be doing the repeat. The repeats are there because the riff repeats, but I'm only going to play the highlighted portion, no repeat. So knowing what the hell this count is helpful. If you don't know what this is telling you in the rhythm notation, it's going to be rather difficult to know how to practice this thing. And some people will see like the groups of zeros, and then they'll just kind of space it out as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. But maybe they don't know exactly how it's spaced. So, without going into too much detail here, the count is this: 1E and a 2 and a 3E and 4E and a 1E and a 2 and a I screwed that up. 1E and a 2 and a 3E and 4E and a 1E and a 2 and a 3E and 4E and a... One way you can look at this is common rhythms in metal is a gallop and a reverse gallop. So what we have here in beat 1 is constant 16th notes. Beat number 2 is a gallop rhythm. Beat number 3 is a reverse gallop rhythm. And beat number 4 is back to straight 16th notes. So this is a very common thing for thrash metal rhythms to do, mixing up gallops, reverse gallops, constant 16th notes, and constant 8th notes. So this is a perfect example of a thrash guitar rhythm. So before you start picking these things, what I recommend doing is be able to tap your foot while the metronome's going and be able to say what you're going to play. Because if you can't say it, you can't play it. So 1E and a 2 and a 3E and 4E and a... And then once you get comfortable with that, then start picking it. 1E and a 2 and a 3E and 4E and a... So the strum pattern is down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Let me do that a bit slower so you can follow that better. So down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. You know what? Let's just make this even easier. Oops. That. Okay. So now you can see the strumming. Down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. And you start the down stroke again. So you're down picking all the 8th note parts, and then the alternate picking comes in during the 16th note section. So, just like last time, with this, what I recommend doing is get this thing as fast as you can. So and you're going to do the same thing of just play it one time correctly, bump it up by 5. So maybe even the beginning, count it until it starts getting too fast to count along. 1E and a 2 and a 3E and 4E and a 1E and a 2 and a 3E and 4E and a 1 so on. So at 200 we would have again, once you get there, don't stop on the metronome. Once you can do that, go faster. Definitely a challenge in there. That was 240. Alright, so 260 there. So yeah, remember, go as fast as you can with these things, so this way when you slow it down to the song's speed, you'll have an easier time of playing the whole thing with as many repetitions as possible. So once you've done those two parts, then I recommend playing it all the way through this without the repeat. Once you can get this up to 200 plus beats per minute, then work on it with at least one repeat, and then start pushing how many times you're going through it. I don't remember how many times the song does it, but that's basically how I approach doing something like this. Break it down into tiny pieces, get each piece up past the speed of the song you want to play, and then start piecing together. So, like in this case, you have a repeat. I would work it up past speed before adding the repeats, and then start doing repeats and just add like another repeat, and like even like make an endurance thing out of it. So maybe like you're at 200 beats a minute, see if you can play through this thing twice correct, and then try it 3 times, and then 4 and 5 and so on. And it'll definitely start to wear on your mind, maybe more than it will your hands, because you know when you're repeating something again and again and again and again and again and again and again, your mind tends to wander and forgets what the hell you're trying to make it do. So, that's how I would practice that. That's my advice on that one. And now the other song that was suggested, or the riff that was suggested. Let me change something here real quick. Bleed for Me by Black Label Society. How you would go about practicing this guy. So, that last song is a half step down, and I'm in standard. This song is much further than that. Drop C, and I'll go to drop D, but I'm not down tuning all the way to that. No thanks. So, kind of the same thing. It's fairly straightforward riff. So it's basically you're picking constant 16th notes all the way up until this power chord here, where you have the quarter notes. So if you're looking for a riff to practice 16th note picking to, and you're not trying to go Slayer speed, this might be an appropriate riff. You see, on beats 1 and 3 is where the melody kind of creeps in there. Consider it like an accent note. And then you have one little riff that pops out through there. So that might be a sticking point for people. And that might be something you want to single out. So if I was to break this thing down even further, let's see, you might want to do it like this. Practice that to that. Again, you start at 60, you play it correctly once, and then go up by 5s. So just so you can hear what that would be like. I'm not going to go all the way up to 120 the whole way. Just do a little bit. So, starting at 60, make sure you're palm muting. And again, just play the first note of the next bar so you practice the transition. And then you do that right once, go up by 5s. All I need to play play it correctly one time and go up by 5. And then here's what it would be at 120. And again, go faster than that. It's not that fast of a song. However, for some people, this will be fast for them, and there's nothing wrong with that. We've all got to start somewhere. So, take it past that. Take it past that. Like maybe up to at least 140. I think that would help. So once you get that part, I would work on this to this. Unless you're having problems with this riff. So let's say you're trying to practice this, and every time you get to the notey part, things start to go awry. Well, focus on that then. Single that part out. And just do that. And look, you're going to be hitting that same note twice. Now, I just got this tab off ultimateguitar.com. It had 4.5-star rating. I haven't really thoroughly double-checked it with the track. I just listened to it back and forth, and it sounded right to me, or at least close enough. So hopefully he is hitting that same note twice there. So you just work on that. So same deal. Get it right once, move it up by 5 beats per minute. And do that until you get up to 120 or past that, and then piece it all together. So once you can do this up to speed, or past speed I should say, then work on putting all that together, and then work on just putting that together. So this is a fairly straightforward one to practice, but hey, not a bad idea to look at how you could approach practicing this thing. So that's that. Now it's time for me to go look where the hell did this get sent? Yeah, that's fine. Go look through some ideas I had stored and see what I can come up with. I have one idea I'd like to practice. Let's see what pops up. There was a sweet picking idea I wanted to try that I've seen some people do that I have not put any effort into really. Oh, where the hell did I store this? Paste clips, ideas. Oh, Lord. Let's see. Okay, I already did that one. Practiced. The hell is this one? Let me change this so you can see it. This. No, I gotta. What was this thing? Oh my. Let's repeat. What the heck I'm going to do with that, but why not? That's a thing to practice, so let's do it. Alright, as per usual, piece by piece. And I'm going to go from there to there, and that's all I'm going to be practicing for this today. But as always, as it says in the top right corner, you got questions, you got comments, they're always welcome. And if you have any suggestions on what you'd like to see practiced in this thing, let me know. Alright, let's see how far I get. So if I can't get to at least 160 with this today, I'll have to do eighth notes. I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, 160 beats a minute with triplets is the same amount of notes per second as eighth notes at 240 beats a minute. So that's why I'm saying if I can't do at least 160, then I need to do eighth notes. I'm not ready for the triplets. This is 135. Finger. Stop for a sec. Alright, here goes 160. Do I hit bare minimum today? God, I hope so. That was it. Alright, keep going. I can go a little faster. Oh, that was nice. Fuck. Alright. I'll stop here. So if I can get this 170, and then I'm calling it a day. That's a tough picking song. Fuck. Come on, damn it. Back down to 160. You gotta at least hit that one more time, yeah. Come on, damn it. You just did it a moment ago. Fuck. Thank you. Alright, that's it. Thank you to everybody who watched. Thank you to everyone who comes and watches the archive thing. And remember, if you got suggestions of what you'd like to see practiced here, let me know. I'm happy to take on some requests to keep these things interesting for everybody. So, we're done.